Yo, YouTube, what is up? How's it going? I'm here with Solar Baka, who is, in my opinion, and I think I have a pretty strong opinion when it comes to gangplank, is probably the best gangplank in the country, and we are going to be going over gangplank. The reason why he's going to be teaching me this champion is because I've actually been out of the loop on this champion. The build has changed, and I'm sure there's some nuances that we've missed, and it's a good way to kind of make a bit of a guide, so to speak, with the champion. So what we're gonna do, we can just hop into practice tool. I'm gonna challenge you to do something, my friend.
All right, what's that?
I'm gonna challenge you to show me something that I did not know with gangplank. That's gonna be the challenge. We'll go over the basic stuff. I'll let you lead the charge. I'll show you basically everything that I know about GP to date. You could fact check me. Yeah, so why don't you why don't you lead the charge here and go through the most important things about GP that you'd want people to know that are picking up this champion or are gonna want to take it to the next level.
All right, so I'm gonna start off with the facts. GP is not a champion for the weak of heart. It's gonna take a lot of time before you get actual results. It could be 10 games, it could be 20, it could even be 30 games before you actually see yourself start to climb in ranked. It will take a lot of dedication and it will take a lot of limit testing. And when I say limit testing, I mean you're gonna need to have games where you go 0-5 and 0-10.
Dope. So as for abilities, I mean, we've got the standard stuff. We have the true damage passive, right, which gives us the move speed and the burn. We have the Q, which is the spammable parlay, which we use to farm and get extra gold with. We have our W, which gives us, I mean, this is the meme, right, with GP, is like, if we use the orange, we get to cleanse whatever the fuck is thrown at us. So even if it's like a Mordekaiser ult, it's one of the best abilities in the game, I would argue. I think GP's W is probably like god tier ability. Like if we had like an ability tier list, I think GP's W in itself is just amazing. It reminds me of just like a Fiora W or something in terms of power level, right? Like as a regular ability, it's just so strong and you can really tear people up with that. And then we have the barrels. For people that are new here, barrels, they grant you armor penetration, basically. They allow you to ignore 40% of armor. And that's a very significant stat. But the reason that I bring them up is I want to know how you utilize barrels differently than most GP players.
So a lot of GP players, they fall into a lot of categories. One of those categories is the GP that doesn't actually know how to play the game after laning phase. So many times there's a lot of GPs. I feel like most low elo players fall under this category. They might do okay in lane or fall even in lane. And then, you know, we get past the 15-minute mark. All right, what do you know about landing barrels on GP? And here's what they do. They throw a barrel in front of the enemy blows up the barrels, they lose 20 LP and they say GP sucks. So a lot of GPs, they're not thinking 5 steps ahead with their barrels. They think in the moment. They think, I place barrel now, place second barrel. I think a lot of GP players fall under that category. They're not thinking ahead. For example, the way you barrel against a Caitlyn is very different from how you barrel against an Alawi or an Aurelia. For example, Aurelia, you don't want to place the barrel on top of her. You want to place it on your minion. She Qs on the minion, you land that barrel. Most GP players do not think about that. Tiny things like that are very important, especially versus a Caitlyn. So if this is the Caitlyn, the enemy Caitlyn, let's say this is her auto attack range, right? So we go here, here, and here. Most GP players will just place the barrel one and done, and then they try to Q the barrel and it gets destroyed by the enemy Caitlyn. So I'm gonna put myself to level 13 because if you're interacting with an AD carry, typically by that point you should be level 13.
Yeah.
Because her auto attack range is here, you can place a barrel directly on your side and she has to make a choice. There's 3 options for her. Walk away, don't interact with the barrel. Very few players will do this. They always want to play the mini game with you. Now, you know where the barrel is going to be before they know what you're even going to do. So if they're walking up to poke you and they don't know that you're about to pull a barrel out, you have the reaction time advantage, right? But then people are like, but what about the range? Well, the thing is, the barrel next to you when you auto attack it is much quicker than if you were to place a barrel in front of you than Q. Cast time and also attack speed. So in that time that you have the barrel next to you, this Caitlyn has to walk up to increase her attack range from here to here. And while that's happening, you'll already have your second barrel and an auto attack in place. That's pretty much how I play. Off angles, awkward angles is pretty much what I always do, and why I very, very, very rarely get out timed and get my barrels destroyed. So this is another example of that. If this was our auto attack range, or if we want to make it more realistic, so average GP player does this, barrel gets destroyed. This is what I do. Very hard for her to outtime that because she has to walk forward, and in that time he was already traveling.
So I will tell you the point about putting the barrel, like, this sounds obvious, but to me, that's something that I normally, I didn't view it like this. I like how you framed it, because I don't think I've ever framed it that way, where you put the barrel down on top of you in order to make them walk up to auto you. I normally would not do that. So I find that like a very interesting perspective that I never really thought about until you said it. So that's pretty cool. I give you that one. That's definitely fresh. Because as far as I was concerned, it was like triple barrel or don't bother. You know what I mean? It was like triple barrel or no. Hi there. Have you ever been watching a Neace video and thought to yourself, wow, Neace is angry. E and then R. And now stay on it. Where are you going? Neace is mad. Everyone's playing so bad. Why can't Neace just be more chill? Commit. Well, you're in luck. Because now, for the first time ever, there is a new YouTube channel. A place that expands on the Neace cinematic universe. Introducing Chill Neace. Subscribe now. That was a lot of damage. We should probably show people on YouTube the different combo types. You know, our standard simple combo, right? Which is just 2 barrels. I can show that over here. It's just 2 barrel, like, put 1 barrel down. I better level up, actually. And you put 1 barrel down, and then you just put another barrel down in queue. I mean, that's pretty simple. I feel like everybody can do that. That's like the obvious one.
All right, so standard triple barrel combo is place 2 barrels down, you explode the first one, and as the first one's exploding, you place a 3rd barrel in any direction. In like a dragon pit, you can actually cover the whole Baron pit by doing this in any direction. So if Baron is up and that's not practical, you can pretty much get max range where most AD carries stand, and then you can ulti after that and pretty much always get teams off Baron. Dragon is the same thing. You can actually place barrels over this pit and reach the center as well with better positioning. You can also clear this bush over here if someone's ever hiding in there and they don't have vision of you.
That's it. That's a new one. That's a new one. I did not know. Nice. I did not know that. It's good shit, man. Yeah, I did not know that one.
River is also slightly bugged with GP because in League of Legends, people at Riot Games thought, why don't we add height to the map? It's not just a 2D map, it's actually more than that. So an example of this is barrels. So first I'll show you barrels that are not connected. These barrels are not connected, as you can see, even though they seem to overlap. Now, Riot Games likes to play this trick on GP players to make us look like we're terrible. An example of this to your advantage, though, is actually shown in River. So watch this. These barrels are somehow connected.
Wow.
And I want to get a more ridiculous example.
No, it's all good, dude. This is great. This is already great. I legitimately, you're already showing me cool stuff that I played this. I must have played this champion like, I don't know, man. I feel like I played him. It's season 6. I must have played this guy like 1,000 fucking games, and I'm not even. Some of these things you're still showing me stuff. Yeah, you're still showing me stuff here. It's pretty cool.
Something I need to fact check. Yeah, the chain is actually invisible. This chain that the barrels have is actually invisible to enemies. So what you can do is if you're trying to enter the dragon pit, or you know that typically they go mid lane and then they walk through this bush. I've done this like countless times. You just set up the entire river to be done from any single side of the bush. Here's another one that I do, because a lot of the time I go for a ward here. They can also enter from the other side, or even a flanker. You can do this and cover an entire lane as well. Pretty much dragon is always yours as gangplank. You're never ever actually hitting the dragon. Very few scenarios where you actually are, because you're just crazy at zoning. For example, if you take your DPS to the dragon, great, you got the dragon, but you lose the fight, right? Like, it's cool that you got the dragon, but winning the fight ahead of time guarantees you the dragon as well.
Well, and additionally, I want to add to that. The other good point too is that with GP, if you know, let's say you get the objective, it's probably going to be you get the objective and you fucking run, right? And that's kind of a weird. You're in a different type of mini game at that point, as opposed to the we fight for it, right? And then we don't. If it does go our way, we don't have to just scray right off the bat, right? So yeah, that's cool. So what else? What other fancy things you got for us, buddy?
So level 1 through 5 laning phase wards are very, very, very crucial to tracking the jungler, tracking anything. What I like to do is if I'm playing on this side of the map at 128, since a lot of top laners don't guard this area for some reason.
Yeah, right.
128, I play. Yeah, it's really weird. I just get like a free ward off right here, and I can see Gromp and blue buff, which allows me to know if I'm getting 3 camped or 4 camped, or if I can even invade. Countless times I've invaded the enemy jungler, killed him here, they spam ping their top laner, and now the game's over, like from the mental edge. Like, you can be great with barrels. You don't have to be like Tobias, though. You don't have to be like me where you land some crazy barrels. Is it nice to have those in your kit? Awesome, right? It's really cool. But a lot of the time playing Gangplank, you can win the games without doing a single fancy combo just based off of your decision making and macro alone. So setting up slow pushes is something that's very important to learn. Getting wards like this off are very huge for your jungler and for your entire team and for yourself. You can win games off of mental edge, off of pretty much everything. Getting yourself a micro lead, maybe this is the difference between you getting Sheen in boots versus just Sheen. So now when you play against a matchup that's skill shot reliant, like maybe Aatrox, you can actually dodge those sweet spots and win trades, which translates to CS, which translates to an even bigger lead, snowballing, things of that nature. All those tiny things start with micro edges that I don't think GP players do enough of. So one example of a micro edge in early laning phase, level 1 through 2, like I said, people are warding around here, right? Pretty much both top laners are warding like here, they're warding here. Sometimes they even go for like weird bush wards if you cue them from a bush, because they're like, oh my gosh, you kidding me from a bush, how dare you? Typically people will not ward these bushes though. So what I could do when I'm level 2, it doesn't matter if they recognize the animation or not. I've done this in every single elo. Placing a barrel right here when the wave is even is super beneficial, because you can like walk like this, right? And let's say enemy person's right here, they want to get this minion or this minion. You can just okay, that's not how I want to do it. You can actually do a 1-part or a phantom keg, whatever you want to call it, and you can get an edge like that. And the thing is, this is very useful against people who play safe. Like imagine a Cho'Gath, right? A lot of Cho'Gath players, especially if you're in low elo, they're playing safe, so they're only playing to farm minions. So if there's a minion right here, let's say these are a few minions, and there's a Cho'Gath right here who uses his rupture from far range, and he's playing relative to where you are. Like if you're here and you move up, then he might move back like over here, right? But if you're standing still and you have a barrel around here and you're just going back and forth, you're not moving up, you're not moving down, and these minions are getting low, every person will greed for a cannon. Let's get that clear. Every person, it doesn't matter what elo, it's so insane. Nobody wants to give up cannons ever. Knowing that information, you go for an attempt at getting a micro edge over your opponent. Get that barrel off, and it covers pretty much the whole lane.
So let's talk real quick, because there's gonna be some people in this video that are like, the fuck is a phantom keg, right? So let's go ahead and show that. You should probably show that one too, because you're pretty much the pilot of those. So inside of your Q range, if you place a barrel inside of your Q range and you try to do the phantom keg, this is what happens. You can't do it at all. It's not possible. When you're walking up to the barrel at your max Q range, like we just discussed, once you're in animation, you place a second barrel. Too easy. And that's how you have a 100% success rate. Whether you're a normal cast or a quick cast player, you see the animation, you go. I play normal cast. Pretty much every other GP player on the planet plays quick cast. No crazy strategy. I do a hybrid. I do a hybrid where I have I tell all my clients, I tell them to have either or. So you do like quick cast, but you can hold shift. If you hold shift, you can choose, and then if you just play, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And that's about it for barrels. But one thing that I will go over are passive resets. So Gangplank's passive reset, I've tested this multiple times. It does not actually refresh, it actually stacks. The damage does actually stack. So let's turn auto refresh cooldowns off, and let's place a dummy. So if we go here and we auto this dummy once, it does 351 damage with one passive. In fact, this would be better if I didn't have first strike, kind of griefing me a little bit.
So 319 is the number. Let's try and remember that. That's 319 for one passive. Let's see. Turn that off. Yeah. So I auto it twice. 319 should be like 638. Yep, 638. For practicality, this can be used on a dragon, on a turret, anywhere. So let's say we're back in this scenario, right? We're back in this scenario and there's an opponent right here. The micro edge where we place the barrel in the bush, really helpful. It takes down to 1 HP. Aurelia queues onto a minion. We auto her. We could space back a little bit. And then double passive reset on this target dummy using that barrel. You get the barrel damage off and you get a double passive reset. Now that might be a little bit more difficult pulling it off on a champion, but you could always do this on like a Baron. A lot of the time, if you watch me or any other GP player, every GP player will do this on either a turret or a dragon or Baron. They'll get like 4k true damage off on a Baron. And you might be like, well, how does that work? So let's buy an Essence Reaver.
I'm gonna join you on this one. Hold on, I'm gonna get this shit.
All right, so let's take this Baron.
Oh, so you're just spamming it, is what you're doing.
Yeah, in between the animations. Because if I go for a double passive reset, which I could do, it works the exact same way. I just do it like that, just because, but it works the exact same way. The point of what I was trying to do is you always blow up the barrel the second your passive is done, when you're doing an objective or even a turret. For a turret, it's more so doing sheen procs though. So here's what people will do, like if I'm taking a tower. You place a barrel down, and the point of this barrel is to give you a sheen proc. As you can see, I have sheen proc on my auto. It does 568 damage. A normal auto attack only does 358. So that's why players will do it while taking a turret. And you could combine this with a double passive reset. 1, 2. And it helps you to take down those turrets quicker.
Nice.
One mechanic that I really want to talk about and that I touch a lot, especially in my barrel guide, is that the way Sheen works on Gangplank is it can actually be stored in a barrel. So I'm going to show you guys 2 scenarios on why this concept is super important. So here we have one dummy, and here we have a second dummy. We're going to remember some numbers here. So this is a standard GP combo that some players will do. So I just autoed him with passive, and then I pressed Q. The total DPS of that was 3.3112. Okay, so here we have one target dummy. I'm gonna auto attack this barrel with the Sheen proc. Sheen is now absorbed. As you can see, I don't have the effect, and it's used on this barrel. Let's Q him. 906 is the number. And you might be saying, well, why did this one do less damage? So when you auto attack this barrel, like I said, the Sheen proc goes from your auto attack into this barrel. So this barrel now has 135 more damage than it typically would do.
I did not know this. Yeah, I didn't know this.
So let me show it one more time. Much more easier, much more simpler.
That's why you've been doing that. That's why you've been doing that in fucking clips. I didn't understand why you did that so much. Why is he doing that every play? I didn't understand that you had a reason behind it. Because normally when you have like level 13, like the barrels tick so fast that I would just let it tick down and just play it organic, right? And just let it tick. And then every play, even when I faced you, it was like you were moving really weird. And I was like, the hell is this guy doing with this freaking barrel? I was like, why is he doing that? But now that I see that you have a reason, okay, it actually makes a lot of sense about what you're doing now. That's interesting.
But the whole point of this is that it's free. You get this damage for free. That you don't have to pay anything to get this damage. As long as you auto attack that barrel, you have that Sheen proc. And that's the difference between maybe getting a kill or not getting a kill, or getting more first strike gold or getting less first strike gold. There's a whole lot of different things. Because like I said earlier, Gangplank is a champion all about micro edges. And this is one of those micro edges that makes people say, dude, why did you do more damage than I did? Or why are you doing so much damage? That's what makes people think that, like, when I play against them, like, GP is broken. Because all of a sudden they went in and they just lost so much more health than they're used to. It's like little things like that.
Yeah, I think this is really cool because I think I was doing this sometimes, but I think it wasn't deliberate. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like I would do it sometimes in certain situations because I'm like, oh shit, I gotta auto the barrel. But then sometimes I would just not do it because I didn't think it made a difference. Right, and it turns out it actually does. That's pretty dope. Let's talk. Did you have anything else, or are you good mechanics?
A super cool flashy mechanic, I guess. There's one flashy one.
Okay.
Okay, so you place a barrel, you can force the one part. Normally you have to be outside of this Q range. So using that same logic, if you Q,
I'm gonna try this one with you.
And then flash. Hold on, I gotta refresh. There
Wait,
we
I
go.
just did it definitely wrong. Whoops.
So you go at the rim of your barrel, you Q, then flash far away, and then place the second barrel.
Wait, I'm trying to do it, but I'm choking so hard. Okay, hold on. Wait, why am I so bad at this one? Wait, I can't. Wait, when do you flash? Show me again.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. So, oh, okay. So you're flashing like. Wait, why am I so bad at this?
The second I cast my Q, I flash, yeah.
Yeah, I think I got it. Dude, I'm too old for this one. Come on, I gotta be able to do it once, right? It's gonna be like. They're gonna do the thing where they're like 20 minutes later, the SpongeBob thing. Yo, I legit can't do it though. Hold on. Why can't I do it? Am I like slow motion?
Nah, it took me like 30 minutes to get it done.
Wait, when did you figure out you could do this? I
like
got one.
3
Okay,
seasons
I got
ago.
one. I got one on camera. On camera. Dude, you've done this once in a game, right?
Yes, I've done it like maybe 2 or 3 times.
I was gonna say you must have been deliberately trying to do it for content.
Yeah, a lot.
There's no way. After trying it like 20 times, it's you know what it reminds me of? I messed around with Fiora, and I was doing the fast vitals or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tried to do it in a game, and I maybe tried it like twice, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this over and over again for content. Like, it's so annoying. Try like blowing your flash to make it look cool. But yeah, that's dope. Cool. Anything else before I get to my questions, and then we'll get to a game? All right.
Last thing, the double passive reset. If you wanted to make it way easier on yourself, you could actually do a 1 part into double passive reset. So auto refresh cooldowns once. Hold on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that is flashy. These are things
that's
you will
about it.
never do in your games, GP players that are watching this video right now. These are things
True,
you're never
actually.
gonna do. It's never gonna happen. And if you do, pat yourself on the back and send it to my Twitter, and then we'll if you prove it that you did it in a ranked game. But yes, a couple questions before we move on. Question 1, the R, right? You gotta do that. You gotta say R. Come on, say R, dude. It's YouTube. You gotta
The R.
the R. Yeah, we're fucking idiots. So which R do you fucking level first?
Fire at Will. I've upgraded Fire at Will first for about 4 years.
Okay.
It's the best one by far.
Okay. And why is that? And for those who don't know, that's the well, I don't know. There's not a really quick way to show it, but that's the one that does 6 waves really quick.
Yeah, it's the first one that shows up on your bar as well.
Yep.
If you want to upgrade it super quickly, it's Shift F1, F2, F3.
Did not know that either.
One, it would be
That
Shift.
one is a mind bender. I did not. When did they add that?
So it actually used to be a bug. The only reason I know it is because there used to be a bug where you could upgrade your ult out of lane, but only if you did like Shift F1. You couldn't actually click it or find it in the shop. You had to press it, and then it got patched like two things later.
Wow. Okay, you really are showing me a bunch of stuff. This is always so fun because it's like I think I know most of it, but no, I definitely did not. So Fire at Will because you just feel like it does enough damage to justify it, or?
Because Death Starter, 9 times out of 10, especially with every season and every champion that gets added, Death Starter is too unreliable. Because you have to hit at the center, or you're doing the same damage as you would without the upgrade, right? And we didn't do all that farming for nothing, so we're gonna make it count.
Got it.
The difference between so Fire at Will is it applies to the entire ulti as opposed to just the center, and the damage is almost doubled compared to your normal ulti. So if your normal ulti did, let's say, 700 damage, Fire at Will would do about 1100 damage, 1200 damage, and also way faster. Because so it's just more reliable in a team fight. And if you ever notice yourself all the time whenever I'm on stream, I love hitting level 11 as soon as possible and also having my ult upgrade, and I get giddy because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a Leona support. Leona presses R. I R their bot lane as they're in a fight. I hover over at the end of my ulti, it says like 778. Like I just did 778 to each person with a global ult.
Yeah, that's hype. and bonus points, and this is why I have a double reason for harassing you, because I think GP is going to be very, very strong again after this TP change. I think that's a very significant change for GP specifically.
He gets the lane kingdom so hard now.
Yep. I was actually kind of pumped to play some GP again in top, because I was like, I feel like one of the biggest issues, and not even just that, it's that the thing that normally pissed me off when I play gangplank is when a top laner would ignore me and like TP flank my team, and I can't really do anything about that, right? So just not having that option early on and getting like, you know, because Triforce when I played, right now, that's where I show my age. But when I played, it was like Triforce at 13 minutes was like standard. If the lane like, you know, 12:30, 12:13, that was like standard. Well, now it's like you're pretty much guaranteed to get there, and your top laner isn't just going to disappear to bot lane and wipe your bot lane, right? Which is a nice little change too, at least to me. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, real quick, I saw back in the day, a lot of Korean gangplanks would go raise morale first. Did you ever try that?
Way back in the day, I did with Presence of Mind, because old Presence of Mind used to give you 20% off of your ulti. I believe it was 20% off your ulti. So if you had raise morale, you always get the assist because you're giving them the movement speed. So you would easily get 2 or 3 of those in a fight. Oh shoot, your ulti's up.
Well, okay. Jeez, I did not know that one. So the other question that I wanted to ask you, and this was one that was really important to me specifically, was the new build. So you have been in the weeds for like the past 3 years since I've really been even touching this champion. I pretty much retired the GP years ago. And you've just been playing him. And then your builds just got weirder and weirder to me, right? With this champion. Because at one point I remember I looked at GP, I think I played against you. You had just like AP shit one time. And I was just like, dude, what is even happening now? You had like random stuff going on. And now we've got this Prowler's Claw is kind of interesting on him. Because it kind of does make him look very piratey. It reminds me of Sea of Thieves. You ever play that game? Yes, Editor's got a clip. Editor has to, at this point, pause. Editor has to clip the Sea of Thieves where they charge up the sword. Show it charging up and have them flying across Sea of Thieves, because that's straight up like, I'm gonna do it to this dummy right now. It looks so stupid. So tell me about your build and what you consider like the core GP build, and then we'll call a practice tool session a wrap and we'll get into a game.
Okay, so I'll start with what I go now. So this is a build that I recommend only to GPs who are experienced, and I mean like you've already made the blood oath to like unless you're playing strictly for fun or you made a blood oath with GP, maybe don't go this build. I'll give you an adjustment. But for the build that I've been going every day, because I'm very, very confident in my mechanics and very confident, and I want to carry every game, this is the build that I go. I go Essence Reaver into Prowler's Claw, into LDR Collector relative to the game state, because LDR only adds about 15 to 20% armor pen to GP, because armor pen is not additive, it's multiplicative. So you don't actually get this 35% armor pen since you already have the 40%. You more so get like 60%.
Interesting.
So
okay.
LDR isn't always the best option. Collector a lot of times can be the best option. I would say 3 or more squishies, Collector, 2 or more tanks, LDR.
Too easy.
Yeah. So you go. So let's say Collector, Infinity Edge always. And then you build whatever item you didn't complete earlier as the last item. So if you didn't build LDR, then you build LDR last item.
Got it.
You build the Collector, you build Collector last item. And now you have 80%.
Do you ever get rid of boots?
Yes. Whenever I get the chance, I either get one of 2 things. So today I played a game against a Katarina, Talon, and I forgot the other champion, but I played against some other dumb champion.
So you Zonias. Yeah, I agree with that. Yep, that makes sense.
I go Zonias, and when Zonias is on cooldown, because it has too many cooldown, you sell it and you buy GA.
Yep. I totally agree with this. This is itemization. I do remember doing shit like this sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very smart.
And
cool.
Then, otherwise, if you're like not against that, you go Youmuu's.
Dope.
And you only lose 5 haste, and you get more or less the same movement speed, and you could force the movement speed with the active, like if you're going to engage in combat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So real quick, and then I promise I'm done harassing you on this. The Prowler's Claw.
Right.
Now, is this just kind of like the active's cool to have, or is there real functionality with it in your mind?
So there's pretty much 3 options for GP. There's Duskblade, there is Prowlers, and then there is Shield Bow.
Okay.
Trinity is a build, but it's not better than any of those 3 mythics at the moment. Not at the moment. Ever since they buffed GP's crit damage, they modified his crit amplifier up to like 25 or 50% more. Crit has always just been the best way, and you want to get it ASAP. So those 3 things. So Duskblade is just utility. Duskblade is like the utility version. The 5 haste, I think, in my opinion, is a little irrelevant, considering that at that point you have 60 haste, and as you go higher in haste, you get less value from it. Because of like how percentages work. Yeah. So I don't really like this. The invis is not useful to me because if they're dead on my screen, I don't need to be invisible. That's just for style points. Yeah. So, and Prowlers is more damage because of the active and the passive that you get here, the 5 lethality per mythic or per item that you have. Typically you get you always get Prowler's second item. So I already have that extra 5 lethality, and then I build another item, 10 lethality. It just synergizes really good, especially on top of the armor pen that you get. And then finally, this is what I recommend to GP players who are not as confident or learning even, is probably Shield Bow. I think Shield Bow is the way for most GP players, because the stats on it are just pretty good, and Shield Bow is a pretty damn good item, honestly. You get like by the time you complete it, you have like a 400 shield, which is pretty good, and you also get the stats on it. You get some AD, damage, crit, lifesteal, and you get rid of having to build a mythic. Like your mythic's done, you don't need to worry about that anymore. So I would go Shield Bow second if I were learning GP. That's pretty much that. I don't fit into that category because you lose out on 20 haste from Duskblade or Prowlers, in addition to losing out on more damage because you only get raw AD. The attack speed stat doesn't matter that much to me. GP's attack speed got buffed about a year ago, and ever since that attack speed buff, they gave him higher attack speed scaling per level and higher base attack speed. They also gave GP recently, they buffed his base health and his scaling health. So with the rune setup that I run, typically I run Overgrowth as well. I'm pretty beefy. I have enough to make it work. It feels like I don't need anything else. Personally, me, to carry my games, I'm not going Shield Bow, and that's why I go Prowlers. I don't need the utility from Duskblade, and I want more damage to carry the game.
All right. And with that, we're going to get into a game, and we're going to see if I can play this champion with that goofy ass build that you just showed.
Woohoo!
That's where we're going, and we're going top, I assume.
Yeah.
And you're going to walk me through step by step. We're trying hard. Some poor newbies are going to get the business.